Hey Dexter, let's go bowling. It's a flashback, guys, to GTA 4. Dexter didn't want to go bowling, but he's been forced into it. Welcome back to Fog Entertainment. Time to review Season 2, Episode 8 of Dexter. This one is called Morning Comes, and when the morning comes, Dexter must grab his balls and go bowling, because that is
what you do in America. Favourite American pastime, as Roman Bellic once said, but I think Dexter's a wee bit better than Nico Bellic, isn't he, for sure? He can hit a strike, or two, or three.
Yeah, I don't think Nico Bellic ever hit a strike, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't actually all he did was like bowling, right, and he wasn't that good at it. I think there should have been a proper like mission cutscene where he actually did something like that. But anyway, let's talk about Dexter, because it's no Grand Theft Auto 4. It's Grand Theft Auto Dex.
We're playing Grand Dex Auto, baby. Anyway, we kick off the episode in Dexter's apartment, and it's a little bit crowded because not only do we have Dexter there, not only do we have Debra there, but we also have Lila there, who is now staying with Dexter after her loft caught fire. And we can just see straight away that Lila and Debra do not get on. Lila asks who drunk all the coffee, but Debra says no one drunk all the coffee because I had a cup, then Dex had a cup, and then we kept having cups until it ran out. So asking who drunk all the coffee was a stupid question. And I mean, Debra's very hostile towards Lila here. I mean, at this point in time, does she have any reason? Does she really know Lila? Is Debra's hostility justifiable here?
No, because it's Dexter's house and he's letting her stay, and if this is his new girlfriend, then fucking it's his house.
No, but she's been very mean to Lila. Now, you could maybe argue she's not happy that Dexter and Rita have brought up, and that's fair enough, but I mean, I don't think she really knows enough about Lila to be treating her the way that she is right now.
Yeah, and you know what? I liked her funny English accent when she was making fun of Lila, so I can accept unnecessarily meanness.
I accept that. Dexter stops by Rita's house.
The coffee pot.
Dexter stopped by Rita's house to return the action figure that he found in his bag. Now Lila says that Cody was trying to control Dexter by putting action figures in his bag, but
that's a stretch.
I think there's only one person doing some controlling here, and I don't believe it's little Cody, who probably couldn't even spell control, to be fair.
They could probably spell Saudi Arabia though.
Can he? He'd probably begin it with an I. Anyway, nobody cares about Israel or Saudi Arabia. We only care about Rita's key, and she wants it back. She doesn't want Dexter to have it anymore. Despite him bringing over morning donuts, Dexter is no longer allowed in Rita's house. Rita says that, look, this is too hard on me. It's too hard on the kids. Do not come back here again. Meanwhile, at the department...
Is that justified though? I think it is. I think...
You see, this is one of those situations where it's just... I know a lot of these red pill guys say that there's just no advantages to guys getting into relationships with single mothers, but I think this is one of those examples where I believe those guys are telling the truth, because like Dexter did create a really good bond with the kids, and I mean, he treated them perfectly, but now Rita is saying, because we're not in a relationship, I don't want you to have anything to do with the kids. And I get it, like, if you're not with the guy and he's not their father, then it wouldn't make sense for Dexter to play a huge role in the kids' life, but at the same time, it's like, you don't think that cutting Dexter out completely, maybe that's a bit wrong. Maybe you phase him out a little bit.
Yeah. It's weird. I buried Paul, but at this current point, if Paul was still alive, obviously he would want seeing the kids more than Dexter. It's just weird for Dexter to come see the kids at this point. For me, and it always will be weird unless they get back together or something. But trying to explain that to 8-year-olds or 5, whatever age they are, it just doesn't work that.
Yeah, but trying to explain that to Dexter, he doesn't seem to get that either.
Yeah, but Dexter's a fucking retard, that's why.
Is it wrong? I mean, was it wrong for Dexter to still think he can come over and give the kids donuts?
But I don't think he's not programmed to think like that. He's a weird cat.
So what you're saying is, if you get into a relationship with someone who has kids, as soon as you split up with them, the kids don't mean nothing to you?
But see, this should have been... See, in the final... See, these two should have been adults and fucking spoke about shit like this, but they didn't.
So what you're saying is, you have no advantage of dating someone who's got a kid?
But yeah, but if you date someone, you don't... It's not like you're like, well, you know what, I can't date them in case we split up. You intend for the... Dexter intended for this relationship... Well, if Dexter cared that much about Cody and... what's the other one's name?
Aster.
If he cared that much about Cody and Aster, he should have tried so hard to patch things up with Rita rather than jumping into another relationship. But he doesn't think like that. So.
But she got rid of him.
Yeah, but he could have attempted to patch up, like Debra said. Oh, when we say that,
but people that are married that have kids, they break up and they don't stick together just for the sake of the kids.
Yeah, but Dexter, he wants to give them fucking donuts. Right? See if the donuts were that good. Maybe I'd accept Dexter coming over the Dunkin' Donuts, man, with some sauce. But he's not. Dexter's son, reel it in. Come on.
Well, I think it's unfair on Rita. I think it's unfair the way Rita's being.
I don't think it is. I think it's justified. But maybe, like you said, phase it out a wee bit better. But Dexter's way better for the kids than Paul is, even though he's their father. But it's just weird. But it's just weird. You were in this relationship.
No, if you're going to cut someone out straight away for being in a kid's life, then I don't think it's fair to expect them to be in the kid's life to begin with. If you're going to cut someone out straight away, then I don't think they should have anything to do with children when you get together. So she wants to have her cake and eat it. She wants Dexter to come over and look after the kids and help get the kids ready and do this and do that as soon as they're together. They've not even been together that long. They weren't even having sex, and Dexter was essentially being their stepdad. But as soon as they break up, like Dexter's, that's him out, that's him done.
Well, that's just the way
that's backwards.
That's just the way it is.
That's backwards.
I think it depends how long you've been. I mean, how long did the relationship last? Like a year?
Well, I just think it's crazy that she's willing to cut off Dexter so quickly for having any access to the kids. Yet in the early part of their relationship, she wanted him to help her out with the kids a lot.
Because she was desperate, needed help. Maybe she's just grieving, doesn't want Dexter to be around, but she says later on.
I disagree, but anyway, we go back to the Miami
department, mate. We go back to the Miami department, not the department. Not Pep Guardiola, man, not his big shiny dome. It's all about Doakes, but his dome ain't there because he's suspended, man. Raging for big Doakes. But yes, Lundy is determined that the Bay Harbour Butcher is someday in law enforcement. But everyone there is reluctant to consider that possibility because no one wants to think that a member of their own staff is in it. But realistically, right, Dexter, by trying to distance himself, by getting everyone confused, is confined it to law enforcement, and therefore, if the killer is in Miami, he has to be pretty much in this department, doesn't he?
Does he?
Well, it doesn't necessarily have to be in this department, but it narrows it down. I mean, there's not how many people in Miami are in law enforcement. We're probably looking at, a couple of hundred? And then how many have got the capability?
Miami's not that small.
No, it's not, but realistically, how many cops have got the capabilities? If he thinks it truly is law enforcement, how many cops got the capabilities to be a killer like this? Because, let's be real, you can rule out certain people to be like this. Is that
not dumb? Is that not just ruling out someone straight from the get-go? No, I don't think
Lundy's smart though. You can tell who this killer. Masuka was able to figure out an AI example of who this guy is. You can tell this killer's not a Doakes sort of person. I think what this killer is, even with it being I even thought in season 1 that before it was revealed it was his brother, the killer shown signs that he was a similar sort of person to Dexter.
So who is it then? Based on, if you're Lundy, who are you investigating in the department?
Well, I think when he's been explaining who he thinks the killer is, he was talking to Dexter, this guy's very precise, he's very careful. I think he is describing Dexter in a lot of ways.
Alright, you can't yet pick Dexter. Outside of Dexter, who are you going for?
Who am I going for? But see, that's what I think. When it's got to be someone in law, I think it's got to be someone dealing with the blood and someone who is very precise.
So what you're saying is you're giving everyone a free pass and you're narrowing it down to Masuka or Dexter.
No, we haven't seen.
Why doesn't Lundy should just get Dexter and Masuka to play Russian roulette like the Suns did?
Listen,
what?
There'll be probably 1,000 people in law enforcement. I don't know the other departments, right? And see the red shirts, I don't know them. But see the people, it's not Doakes. It wouldn't be I think Batista could potentially. He's the most it's not Debra. She's not smart enough to pull something like this off, and Lagarta's too busy jumping in bed to get her job back.
Yeah, anyway, Lundy asks Deb to look into drug dealer Anthony Rodrigo. Now, he wants Debra to look into these cases, but he doesn't want the likes of Doakes or LaGuerta or Batista because they were already involved when this happened, whereas he says that Debra was in Feist, therefore she can investigate these cases.
I think this is perks of sleeping with the boss.
Yeah, which isn't going to go down too well, I don't think, especially with Batista, because he's going to think that maybe he's not trusted and that Debra is. But Lundy explained that this all happened before Debra was really on the team, so therefore she's allowed to investigate or whatnot. LaGuerta and Doakes walk on the beach and they discuss the Bay Harbor Butcher investigation. She says that Doakes is going to be brought in, but Doakes doesn't want to go in. He says he's got no desire really to be there anymore, and he plans on leaving. LaGuerta mentions she knows a security contractor, and she agrees to set up a meet in order to try and get Doakes a job, because it looks like Doakes' time at the Miami department is done. We see Dexter go over to Lila's loft to help her clean up. She says that she hasn't got any sort of claim from the insurance company because they're suspecting that the fire was started on purpose. And then Dexter has a little look around and he sees a couple of origin points, and he thinks that maybe there is some truth to this, that maybe Lila did set this on purpose, and he kind of just leaves here in a rush. He doesn't call her out, but he's kind of like, maybe there's something more to this, and he just bails. He meets with Lundy. Lundy brings up the Rodrigo case, and Lundy just throws Dexter off here at every single point.
You want tea? No, I'll make it anyway. You want crackers? Yes. Well, there's none left. I ate them.
I thought this was great.
This is textbook.
I think this show gets these little things, the comedy things and things like this, just to a T.
Asshole. Yeah, no, it does. Even like murmuring asshole, it was brilliant.
Like the mind games, and I think that there's not. It's hard to. There's not many shows like Dexter. It's a unique show, I think.
It is.
But yeah, Lundy talks to Dexter about his blood work, and he mentions how he allowed this Rodrigo guy to walk free due to sloppy blood work. Now Dexter tries to point out how to the working man that it could look like it was poor work, but in reality it was good work. But Lundy's having none of it. Lundy has investigated all this, and he says, nah, it was sloppy blood work, you got it wrong. And Dexter finally breaks down and admits he made a mistake because he was overworked, and Lundy comes to the conclusion that that Dexter basically allowed a killer to walk free because he was being overworked, and you can just see that Lundy
is disappointed.
Yeah, he's disappointed with Dexter, but
I think it's a poor excuse for Dexter. But looking at what else could he have said? Was he just going to deny it till the end of time?
I mean, it's either make up a shitty excuse that isn't acceptable, or tell the truth and say, yeah, I messed up the blood work on purpose so that this guy would walk free and I could kill him.
Yeah.
So I mean,
or he could have just keep beating the drum of, here, I thought it was good blood work. I didn't think it was. No, I thought it was. No, it wasn't.
I think if Dexter's having this conversation with LaGuerta, he can win her over.
Not with Lundy.
But Lundy's obviously not going to fall for that shit. Deb and Batista question Lenny Asher, a paranoid man who used to live next door to Rodrigo, because he keeps notes, and they think that maybe he's got notes from the day that Rodrigo was abducted. And it turns out this guy does have notes. He must have had about 50 boxes of fucking notes. Every 2 seconds he was like looking at his window, writing things down. It's like, oh, look at those assholes parked there.
From the fire hydrant, that's us.
What did you make of this Lenny Asher guy?
He was alright. I mean, don't know if we'll see him again, but there's like one person like this in every town, isn't there?
Yeah, no, definitely. So
time to look in his box. So 2002, hopefully he's going to have the date Rodrigo went missing written down.
Back at the station, Deb tells Dexter she's found an apartment and she will move out soon. She also tells him that she has a date with Lundy, and Dexter, for some reason, just comes out and accuses her of sleeping her way to the top.
Yeah.
I don't know if he meant this, but
it was like a random outburst. He's like, you know what, I probably shouldn't have said that. But then, if she's burying Lila, then he's entitled to bury fucking her and Lundy.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'd say there's definitely.
And it's not like he was being. He almost kind of said it as it was a joke with a jag.
Yeah, but
I think Deb was insulting Lila with just jags, not jokes.
Yeah, so Debra insulted Dexter's choice in women, and it gave her another opportunity to bash.
Pardon my tits.
Gave her another opportunity to bash Lila. She called her a vampire, titty, English bitch. Deb then has dinner at Lundy's apartment that night. Now, Lundy said he was going to take her to the best restaurant in Miami, and it turns out that's his own kitchen. And Lundy's went from being a guy that just didn't seem like he was sure him and Deb was a good idea to just committing to it fully here. He's talking down to her and like doing this like daddy shit and spanking her, and it just seems like they're actually a good match for each other despite the like 30 years age gap.
I wonder what's going to happen though when the rest of the department find it, if they find it.
But no, I mean, out of all the partners, I'd say this is probably one she's got the most connection with.
Yeah,
even more than Rudy.
I'd say so.
And we've only really seen Deb and Lundy.
Because like with Rudy, it's what's the artificial? He's forcing it. He's like knows exactly
just
what to
compare this Deb and Lundy relationship to Deb and Gabrielle. It's like
night and day.
Night and day. Dexter's trying to avoid Lila, but he can't do it. He makes up an excuse that he's going to go out with his co-workers and go bowling, but Lila then fights herself and demands to know the bowling department, the bowling alley. So Dexter gives her the address and he goes to play bowling, and Lila impresses all Dexter's co-workers. They all think that she is hot. Batista gets a hug and Masuka gets a little pat on the nose, and Masuka isn't really happy about this. He wants the hug that Batista got. When they're leaving, we see Santos Jimenez attack Dexter with a knife. Lila manages to warn Dexter just in time, but Dexter gets slashed on the arm. Santos Jimenez flees the scene when Masuka, Batista, and some other random guy come running.
No idea who the guy was.
But Masuka's gun is probably like bigger than his fucking body.
It was massive. It was a revolver.
Then Batista turns around and says, "Damn, they'll sell a gun to anybody in Miami." And like Masuka's like, "Yeah, crazy, I know."
Brilliant.
I like Masuka.
I like these two. Good dynamic.
But yeah, Masuka's running around with a massive size gun. Dexter lies that it was just a mugger, and he leaves with Lila. But of course, Dexter knows who it is. That night, Dexter tells Lila the truth about who the man was. She comforts him as they lie in bed. But when Lila goes to sleep, Dexter is like, you know what? I can't be the vulnerable guy. I have to embrace who I am. And he leaves Lila. He drives to Naples, and after a while, he kills Jimenez. In some like cabin full of cocaine. So Jimenez is up to his old tricks.
I'll give you the cocaine, Dexter.
I'll give you the cocaine. It's worth a lot of money. Dexter, though, just rips him in half with a chainsaw, and I guess this was karma.
See the way this location was? How the hell did Dexter get to this cabin with him? Like, it looked like it was a one-way path, but yet Dexter was like facing him in like a 180 angle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, how did the guy not realise he was being tailed? Although Dexter was parked in the bushes.
And I know, but like, how the hell did he get the car around there?
Suppose he turned off your
And
headlights.
this is a Dexter thing. I honestly think it's almost quite obvious to know if you're being tailed, especially if you're travelling for like an hour.
Yeah.
And if you're a criminal. Like even if you're driving for 10 minutes, you will recognise, oh, that car's still with us.
Yeah, I'm sure like this Jimenez guy, he's been around, he's experienced.
And he tried to kill Dexter or attack him.
Yeah,
the previous night.
And he's already been attacked by Dexter recently. Yeah. So, he probably would be a little bit more... I think it's just plot purposes, so shit like this happens, so I can't really, criticise it too much. But yeah, Dexter kills Jimenez. Rita finally tells Astor and Cody that she broke up with Dexter. Cody thinks this means that Dexter doesn't like him anymore, leaving Rita saddened. But, I mean, this ain't Dexter's fault, in my opinion. This is Rita's fault, because Dexter has... I mean, let's be honest, most guys wouldn't give a fuck. Most guys would just split up with the girlfriend and then not care about her kids, whereas Dexter actually does care and still wanted to be in their life, and Rita's the one that forced him out, so...
Yeah, but let's just say Rita gets in another relationship, so... Is the ex-stepdad who was only with her for a year supposed to be in their life forever?
No, I'm not saying that, but can they not at least be friendly? I'm not suggesting for a minute he should be coming to the house every morning with donuts.
Aye. But I think it's just weird. But say another Dexter type character comes along and he's really nice, then would he be alright? It's like, hold on, who's this guy?
Down. So you think we could have 20 Dexters running around trying to babysit Rita's kids?
Aye.
Possibly. Where arranges a meeting with her security friend that night, but will Doakes turn up? We don't know. Doakes meets with Lundy for questioning, but the questioning doesn't even last that long. Lundy says that Doakes worked on several of the Babe Harbor Butcher victims, but never got a conviction. Why is that? But he mentions blood work, and Doakes then realises that the blood work was wrong. He never knew this up to this point. But Lundy lets it slip. Well, it doesn't let it slip, but Lundy reveals to Doakes that, yeah, the blood work wasn't wasn't good enough, really, and it was
It never got the conviction, which Doakes realises, holy shit, Dexter.
yeah, and at this point, Doakes just doesn't care. He just walks out. Lundy's like, "You got to come back here. You got to finish these questions." But Doakes is like, "Nah, I don't. I'm out. I'm done."
But see, he realises
finished.
here it's another case where Dexter fucked up the blood work.
Yeah, so.
But see, I get it. Doakes wants to go alone, but you know, I think he should maybe point out to Lundy here that there's something.
It's not the
right.
person Doakes is, so.
I know it ain't. If it's anyone else,
Like
Dexter,
Lundy said earlier, you know, you're not a team player.
you're a cat.
You're a Lone Ranger. Deb and Batista go through the notes from the crazy guy who they were visiting earlier, and they find a note that describes an unconscious Rodrigo being carried into a car. They eventually find the license plate that Lenny wrote down, and they discover that the vehicle was registered to a drug dealer, Charlie Lewis. However, Lewis was arrested 4 days before April 16, and his vehicle was seized as evidence. And the only people who had access to it were members of the Miami Metro Police Department. And it turns out someone signed it out and then signed it back in. So Lundy, Debra, and Batista conclude that this proves the Bay Harbor Butcher is one of their own.
And again, so Dexter's dug this hole. Now it's completely signed onto the fact that it has to be from that department.
Yeah, LaGuerta's waiting with her friend for Doakes, but Doakes isn't showing up because Doakes has got busier things to be doing, and that is snooping around Dexter's apartment. He finally finds the ventilation shaft, and when he looks inside, he gets the collection of trophies, the blood slides that Dexter keeps in his little blood slide
This should be game
cabinet.
over. This should be bon appetit.
So Doakes is now in possession of the blood slides, and this spells disaster for Dexter. How can you explain your way to this?
Well, I mean, if I was to make a prediction, like we said, Doakes is in it for him, not in it for himself, but he does it by himself. And I just think Dexter's going to obviously confront Doakes before this gets anywhere, and something's going to happen to Big Doakes. I don't think Doakes is making this season.
Oh, Rita and the kids come home, but the door is unlocked. They go inside, but Lila's in there. However, she sneaks out before any of them notice. So, why was Lila at Rita's place? She couldn't find Dexter. Maybe she thought Dexter would be there. We see Dexter go through Jimenez's wallet, and he finds the bowling alley address written on a piece of paper. And how did Jimenez know that Dexter would be at the bowling alley? He recalls being in Lila's loft, and she had the address written down on a board, and Dexter puts 2 and 2 together and decides that the answer is 4. And he realizes that Lila gave Jimenez the location. Rita phones Dexter and tells him that someone broke into their house, and at this point, Dexter realizes that he doesn't have the key for Rita's house anymore and that Lila must have stole it. Dexter goes over to check out that Rita's okay. He tells a police officer to stay here and guard them, and then he leaves for Lila's loft because, I mean, he originally wants to get rid of Jimenez's corpse first, but he thinks that helping Rita is more important.
Yeah, so is Jimenez's corpse going to get found? I think Doakes is going to tell Dexter Jimenez's corpse's location. There you go. Next episode, boom, hit you with it. Bang.
Boom. Dexter then goes to Lila's loft. He takes his key back and he interrogates her. Lila does confirm that she called Jimenez, but she never wanted Dexter to get killed. She says she only did it so that Dexter would grow closer to her and that Dexter would fall into her arms like he did the first night that he confronted Jimenez. And I mean, pretty crazy that Lila went through all that just to try and get Dexter to fall into her arms. But Dexter...
And now she's pushed him away from her arms.
Dexter says it's like one thing to mess with me, but then you're messing with Rita. You're going into her home. He says stay away from him and Rita or else you will see the monster. And then Dexter says to himself that the Lila experiment is officially...
Does she deserve Mr. Mayhem?
Maybe.
Maybe. She does.
Dexter tells Lila that the experiment is over, that they're done, and he warns her to stay away. Lila kind of mockingly asks him, or what? And he says, or you will see the monster. So, I mean, Lila was kind of egging him on, but I don't think Dexter's joking here. I think Dexter's legit. I think if Lila doesn't stay away, I think if Lila continues to break into Rita's house, then she might just find herself coming face to face with a monster. And that monster being
Wrapped in cling film.
Monster Morgan.
Monster Morgan. Double M. M&M's.
Anyway, that's the end of the episode. Are you going to give it a monster rating?
I'm gonna give it an 8. I think the last two episodes have been really good.
I'm also going to give it an 8. 8 for me. Like I said, I think we're heating up, and I think things only get better from here. So, yeah, 8 out of 10, guys. That is it. Morning comes. 8 out of 10 comes. We'll catch you in the next one. Till then, peace.